Let all warriors bear their mark proudly, taking what pride they can in their accomplishments. For our lives should be full of glory, but short. On the battlefield, we are alone. There are few guarantees in life. Death and taxes, of course, will always persist. Though today we're going to talk about another constant, which we can rely upon until the last human being shuffles the mortal coil. What is that constant? Why, it's making really big explosions. With everything from blockbuster video games, yearly fireworks sales, and yes, even gigantic battle mechs crammed with explosive ammo, we love ourselves a good old exothermic chemical reaction. So in today's definitely related topic, the battle mech we're going to dive into is the Hunchback IIC. It's one of those mechs which many people have a tabletop story about, where it is either the hero or the victim, sometimes both at the same time. This is just part of its charm as a mech which pushes toward the extremes on the offense versus defense continuum. Fans of the original Hunchback will point out that the offensive capabilities of that 50-ton battle mech make it disproportionately powerful. First produced in 2572, it perfectly fit into the role of a medium brawler that excelled in short-range combat. Basically, it's the mech that the urban mech fans wish their mech could be. Armed with an AC-20 in that right shoulder, the mech's presence could not be ignored, as one hit from the most powerful autocannon available at the time was more than enough to make it through the armor of any light, medium, and even some heavy mechs that were unfortunate enough to wander by. As a niche mech, the Hunchback excelled at what it was designed for, while suffering a little bit in the environments where it was caught out in the open, or in a position where it had to consistently fire with only those 13 single heatsinks. Just as with the other 2C clan redesigns of the SLDF mechs, the Hunchback IIC would seek to enhance what was already good about the battle mech, while also addressing some, if not all, of the drawbacks. For the Hunchback IIC, we're going to see just how successful they were, or unsuccessful, depending upon how you feel about this mech. The Hunchback IIC was first produced by Clan Smoke Jaguar in 2856, and I can't think of a better clan for it. Creating a mech that is so entirely devoted to offensive capabilities without concern for self-preservation fits extremely well with the Smoke Jaguar mindset. Initially, the battle mech was seen as a final assignment in any codex for warriors that wanted to redeem themselves in one last glorious charge or stand against some foe. While that did temper a bit with time and battle reports that showed it wasn't always a death sentence, how's that for a ringing endorsement? The Hunchback has had a hard time shucking the bad reputation as a mech where careers and their Mechwarriors go to die. At 50 tons, the Hunchback IIC is blessed with a Series 3 endosteel internal structure and a General Systems 200 XL engine. This allowed it to travel at up to 64 km per hour. While this isn't anything special for a 50-ton clan mech, it will get the Mechwarrior from point A to point B at a reasonable clip. The Clan Medium Series Mark III jump jets allow the Hunchback IIC to launch itself up to 120 meters, which does add considerably to the mech's ability to get around and survivability, especially in an urban environment where Hunchbacks thrive. Before we get to the weapon systems, which are obviously the biggest draw for a mech that is almost entirely devoted toward being aggressive, we have to talk about the armor. There's only 6 tons of standard Series AB armor on this mech. For some perspective, the 30-ton Valkyrie, the Inner Sphere mech, has 6 tons devoted to armor. The Night Sky, another 50-ton mech which excels at close-range combat, has 9.5 tons of armor. The Hunchback IIC is so poorly armored that an ERPPC or Gauss rifle round will penetrate into the internal structure in every location except the center torso, which has 18 points of protection. So it begs the question a little bit, but what do we get for skimping on armor and speed? Well, you get 12 double heat sinks, which solves the heat issue from the original Hunchback. That's about it. Yeah, we're done. Video over. Hope you enjoyed it, etc., etc. Thanks for coming out. Sorry. Oh, wait. There is the 29 tons of space devoted to 2 Devastator Ultra AC-20s and a pair of ER medium lasers, with a ton of ammo for each of the autocannons. So we have ourselves a battle mech that can theoretically do 94 damage to a target in a single turn alpha strike. Unfortunately, we can only do that 2 turns before the autocannon ammo hoppers start running dry. There's a margin of error challenge here, which could be a problem for all but the boldest warriors. Luckily for the clans, there are no shortage of bold warriors who are willing to take incredible risks if the payoff is good. As unlikely as it sounds, the Hunchback IIC became popular across most of the clans was included in the trial of Tukid, and has persisted in various upgraded forms up to the dawn of the Il-Clan era. An estimate from an Inner-Sphere source claimed that Hunchback IICs made up roughly 3% of all battlemechs in the Clan Tumens. The Hunchback IIC became popular among young Clan Jade Falcon warriors in trials of position, where they could bet they could quickly disable or destroy an opponent at the very beginning of a matchup. The tactic became successful, and even though it was frowned upon by older, more traditional warriors, it launched many careers. In 3015, in a trial of possession over some recently produced battlemechs, Clan Jade Falcon warriors discovered the folly of underestimating the power of the Hunchback IIC, when a star of them, piloted by disgraced Warden Smoke Jaguar warriors, nearly wiped out 2 trinaries of Falcon Omnimechs. Though the Jaguars were eventually all killed, it was a humiliating victory for Clan Jade Falcon. In a somewhat tragic tale, a Mechwarrior by the name Stephanie thought that she would take advantage of the route so many others had taken in their trials by choosing the Hunchback IIC. That gamble paid off in the short term, but when she learned that she was going to be formally assigned to the Hunchback IIC by her commander, she immediately challenged him to a trial of grievance. With experience and knowledge of the Hunchback IIC's strengths and weaknesses, her commander avoided the early knockout blow and instead knocked Stephanie's Hunchback to the ground in a decisive victory. Delivered a humbling defeat, Stephanie took every opportunity to take bold risks with her Hunchback IIC in hopes of proving herself worthy of a different mech. In a trial of possession with Clan Ice Hellion, she recklessly overextended and was picked apart by lighter mechs who were able to avoid her shots long enough for her ammo to run out. Mechwarrior Stephanie's mech was shot out from under her, and in a cruel bit of malicious bureaucracy, she was delivered a new Hunchback IIC shortly after. In 3061, the Hunchback IIC-2 debuted, which attempted to deal with at least one of the issues of the original mech by replacing the Ultra AC-2s with 4 large heavy lasers and 2 medium pulse lasers. There is still a dearth of armor, and the 19 double heat sinks are nowhere remotely capable of handling the heat generation from an Alpha Strike. Including the medium pulse lasers, 80 heat is generated, which blows through the 38 heat sinks and instantly shuts the mech down. I genuinely don't understand why this exists. It feels like the sort of build someone makes as a joke in order to try to cheese their friends down at the corner game shop, only to spend the second turn of the game shut down and then die under a volley of LRMs. This variant is bad, and I feel bad just talking about it. A Warden variant, which earned the Hunchback IIC-3 designation, takes the missile launcher route and replaces the ultra autocannons with 3 ATM-12 missile launchers and 3 ER medium lasers. While not as explosively hot as the 2C2, the 2C3 still isn't going to want to Alpha Strike with those lasers and the missiles at the same time unless under extreme duress. The ATM launchers do provide some flexibility with 4 tons of ammunition, but I cannot see this ending well for the Mechwarrior inside when you have 12 armor on your left and right torso. It all leaves precious little margin of error in your time on the battlefield. Remember that the Hunchback IIC is an XL engine, so a PPC, Gauss rifle, or heavy large laser hit could significantly hobble your mech the first turn you are hit. Because of course there is, the Hunchback IIC does have a variant which employs rotary autocannons. The 3075 debut of the Hunchback 4C4 runs a pair of rotary AC5s on his shoulders along with an ECM suite and 2 ER medium lasers. I know there are people who swear by the rotary autocannons because you told me all about them in the comments from the last video, at great length, well into the evening and into the next day. The 12 double heat sinks are again not suitable for the heat generated, but let's be honest, no one running any of these variants cares. I'm yelling into a hailstorm of rotary autocannon fire. It's okay, this is all okay, nothing matters. Enjoy your running bomb mech. God, I need a nap. Finally, in 3130, when the Jade Falcons recaptured the planet Pandora, they didn't find any blue aliens, but they did find that the Lyrans had retooled an old Hunchback IIC production line owned by Red Devil Industries to make what was referred to as a sensible Hunchback IIC, if one could even exist. It carried 2 LB-20X autocannons and a pair of medium pulse lasers. Everything else is stock from the original 2C design, including having only 2 tons of LB-20X ammunition. 5 shots per gun, use them well. At least heat isn't an issue with this variant, so just go wild, kids. The Hunchback IIC-5 is now a fairly common design in the region of space that used to be the Clan Jade Falcon Lyran border. Even though this variant gives up the punching power of the UACs, I am fond of it for two reasons. The first is that the LBX version is going to make better use of the ammo that you have, and the second reason is that Malvina Hazen was nearly killed by a Lyran Hunchback IIC, which pinned her Shrike to the ground and fired its guns until the ammo cans ran dry. Though she survived, of course, it was a moment that deeply embarrassed the Chinggis Khan, and that's a good thing. I'm not sure what else I can say about the Hunchback IIC. It's obviously a gimmick mech akin to the urban mech, and I'm already on record saying that I'll pick a generalist design 9 times out of 10. I know people have crazy stories about how the Hunchback IIC saved the day in a match once in 1998, but I bet there are a dozen examples of it dying just as quickly in early rounds without firing a shot. If you enjoy the Hunchback IIC, I say go wild. I think this is one of those times where I would prefer to just run the original Inner Sphere Hunchback, which is, in comparison, a much more balanced and useful battle mech. If you disagree, which I'm sure many will, let me know in the comments below. If you agree, you're awesome. Clearly you enjoy a privileged place on the right side of history. To answer the question about why do we love the Hunchback IIC, I have to say because it's absurd, and it's proud of it. It'll either make your day or ruin it. Some people enjoy that kind of uncertainty in their lives. Thanks for coming by today, and don't forget to hit all the buttons, like, subscribe, etc. if you feel the video was worthy. Taking that extra step to become a channel member directly supports the channel and makes this grand experiment much more viable. As of the moment you're hearing this, I'm already working on the next video, so until then, take care and go make the world a slightly better place today and tomorrow.